Roadshow, episode number 540. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me back here in Las Vegas. And Cold Coffee, I think I'm finally just about recovered from this past weekend. Not quite all the way. I don't know if I'm 100% yet, but I'm getting back there. I'm closer to being back to normal after the massive adventure this past weekend. Let me off the top apologize to anybody that supports us over at patreon.com/the MMA Roadshow that we did miss an and a half episode after what was a very entertaining card, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it, and I got to see most of it live during the day. But, man, there was just absolutely no – well, first, I didn't even get home till, like, Monday afternoon. But, yeah. So I want to offer the apologies first and just say that I'm finally almost back to normal. So
almost back to normal. I saw a picture of you on the ground, and I was like, man, I didn't think GMs had to sleep on the floors.
It is funny because Rob, our CEO, obviously – He actually called me the next morning. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, obviously I got your hotel room if you need a hotel room for the night. Like, what are you doing? I was just like, it was one of the situations. Here's what happened. All right, first of all, let me just say, got a chance to work with Michael Chiesa and Morgan Worth for CFFC BJJ. Fantastic. Obviously, Chiesa I've known forever. Love that guy. I hadn't worked with him in 10 years. Chemistry just right away, right there. It was fun. He's incredible, especially for – I mean, he's great for all combat sports, but for grappling especially, that dude is on point. So loved working with Michael Chiesa. And Morgan Worth, it was the first time I worked with her. She's awesome, man. Pay attention to her on more UFC stuff. I know she's going to be on the UFC BJJ this week, but pay attention to what she's doing. Got a chance to just see to see her work ethic. Bottom line is to see like how she handles things in addition to just her on-screen persona, like what she does off camera as well, production-wise and all that. So big fan of hers. That was great. And then the next night, working with Ryan Cafaro was fantastic for our Next Gen show as well. The very first Next Gen show sold out inside the Sound Waves. The energy was off the charts. The fights were great. So shout out to James Lyons and Jake Noacker who put that card together, and they really found a lot of upcoming talent in the area, and so really fun. So great stuff, man. All of it's on YouTube if you want to check out the Next Gen stuff. The prelims of BJJ are on YouTube, and then of course the main card on Fight Pass. So go watch the replays. All that was great. Phenomenal work, right? Had a great
You're
weekend.
On a high. You're like, oh, everything's going great.
Crushing it, right? Crushing it. Had a great week with everybody involved.
This GM thing's easy.
Love it. So I was taking a Sunday night flight home to get back. It was way cheaper. Like my round trip ticket. You know me. I'm a company guy. So I picked the cheapest ticket. I want to say it was like $200 round trip, which is absurd, right? So I was like, I'll take the evening flight out. Well, Saturday night we have the fights, and like always, I can't sleep afterwards because you're just on this high. You got this adrenaline rush, and so I got some work done, that sort of thing. I'm basically on no sleep the next day as we go back to Philadelphia. But there was a weather alert that came out, and the weather alert was like, there's going to be bad weather. So American Airlines does that thing where, like, if there's bad weather, you can change your flight, whatever you want to do. Yep. Now, mind you, I had received an upgrade. I was going to be in first class, right? I was going to be in first class, but I had like the 9:30 flight out. So I was like, well, Morgan, don't be selfish. If there's bad weather, plus you're tired anyway, you want to get home early. So I got myself on an earlier flight, 7 o'clock. It means I had to give up my upgrade, so I was going to be sitting in coach, but at least I was going to get home only 2.5 hours earlier, but still 2.5 hours earlier, right? And I'm on no sleep, exhausted. So I'm on that 7 p.m., right? So we go to the airport, hanging out, having a couple cocktails in the lounge, that sort of thing. Jason Liederfine, who I'm hanging out with, he goes and jumps on his flight to go to Memphis, so now I'm just chilling by myself, hanging out, no big deal, right? Well, that 7 o'clock flight starts getting delayed and starts getting delayed and starts getting delayed. And as it's getting closer and closer to the 9:30 flight, I'm like, man, I just gave up that first class seat for nothing. I'm not gonna get home any sooner. But I'm talking with my wife, and I'm like, I'm bummed. I was like, but whatever. At least I'm still getting home. It just goes to show you, just stick with what you got next time. If you got an upgrade, stick with it. She was hanging out. She was going to see Backstreet Boys at the Sphere, so she was getting ready for that. She's like, yeah, fine, honey. Yeah. Well done, them? Sir. Is that them? That's well them, done. Right? I think that is them.
Or is that NSYNC?
Or is that NSYNC?
Well, it's all the same.
It's all the same. 98 Degrees? Wasn't that one back there? 98 Degrees? Was there
Did they do the I Swear? No, that was another one. Yeah, whatever. I completely derailed your conversation.
Completely. All right, so I'm getting delayed. So it looks like now I'm only going to be home like 40 minutes earlier, and I gave up my first class seat. But whatever. Then all of a sudden, American Airlines goes, oh, get an alert. Flight's canceled I'm like, flight's canceled. And they're like, but they instantly rebooked me on the 9:30.
The 9:30 one.
So they instantly rebooked me on the flight I was already on, except I now no longer have my first class seat because I done. But and again, I'm watching, dude. I'm looking around the airport.
You're gonna mean mug whoever's in that seat.
No, yeah. Oh, I see you 4D. I see you 4D right there. But
4D nut, bitch. Get off the seat.
I was like, whatever, man. It is what it is. I'm getting home. And to be honest with you, like I was talking to my wife as well. Like I was looking around the airport, and since I was hanging out in the lounge, people are talking to the staff, and I can hear them saying like, "Well, we've got you on tomorrow at 7 p.m." You know what I mean? So like, I'm like, you know what, man. Keep your complaints to a minimum. There's people that are going to be stuck here another day, whatever. Yep. So I'm like, all right.
I'm surprised you even notice him. Once you leave the lounge, I just figured you're just noses up, and you're like, I don't even look.
I don't see you,
You're like,
peasants.
I don't even want to smell you folks.
Don't look in my direction. No eye contact. So, all right. So now I'm on that later flight. I don't have my first class seat, but I got main cabin extra at least. So I've got a little leg room, and they'll still bring you a cocktail or something. So I'm good.
The important stuff.
The important stuff. I need leg room and I need cocktails. But now, all right, so we get time to take that off, and all of a sudden, that plane starts getting delayed. So it's 9:30. Now it's like 10:15, 10:45.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there waiting on the flight. The lounge is closed at this point, so you got to go out in general population. You know what I mean? I'm out there.
Shed pop.
And I'm hanging out in the thing, and the crew comes in. So all the flight attendants are there to get on. And I've traveled enough, and you've traveled enough too, that when things start getting late, like one of the things that'll happen is the crew runs out of time that they're allowed to work, right? Because they have to rest or whatever. So I actually asked the flight attendants. I was like, hey, I see y'all here. I was like, are y'all almost out of time, or are y'all actually going to be able to make it? I mean, this is a cross-country flight. Are y'all going to be able to do this? And they were like, no. They were like, this is our first flight of the day. Like, they brought us in early, so we're good. So I'm like, okay, all right, I think we're going to be good.
So they were a new crew assigned to the delayed flight.
Exactly. So they're there. Like, no, we're going to be fine. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, like 11:30, we just get a note like flight's canceled. And I actually got it just like 2 seconds before even the crew that's sitting next to me got it. And I was like, oh, look, it's canceled. They're like, oh, we haven't seen that yet. They're, oh, yep, you canceled. And they're like, all right, well, we're going home. See ya. I was like, So now it's like 11:30 at night. I'm on no sleep from the night before. I'm in the airport for hours hanging out or whatever. And I see, like, there's 2 different desks at American Airlines at the Philadelphia airport. Both of them are still, like, 100 people in line. I call the Executive Platinum desk. Even though I'm no longer Executive Platinum, I still have that phone number saved in my thing. And it's like a 2-hour wait.
Oh, my goodness.
So I start looking at flights. Ironically, Michael Chiesa, who had worked the day before, he got stuck an extra day due to weather. So I was talking with him, and Chiesa was like, check this hotel. He's like, here's where I stayed. He's like, it was reasonable price and nice hotel. He's like, check this hotel. I checked that one. It was sold out. I started looking at the other ones, sold out. It's like all the hotels in the area because there had been weather delays. So finally, man, I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sleep on the floor. I was like, I haven't done this in a long time. You know what I mean? I was like, I've done this before.
Hello, my old friend.
That's it. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I just laid down. I was like, I'm tired. I don't feel like dealing with it. I don't even know where a hotel is. I'm fine. Now, so I did that. And actually, it actually worked out kind of good because I woke up. So I fell asleep, crashed out hard. I woke up at about 6 o'clock in the morning just randomly. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to check my app real quick. Just see, now that the craziness has settled, let me see kind of what's going on. Pulled up the app, and sure enough, man, there was one seat available on at 8:30 a.m. So I was rebooked. So once my flight was canceled, they automatically rebooked me for like 7 p.m. the following night. So I was going to be in the airport the whole day, right?
That's harsh.
And it was funny because I told Rob, I was like, hey man, I was like, I'm going to be stuck in town tomorrow. So if you just want to have a work day at the office, he's like, my daughter has a softball tournament. Like, I'm leaving town early in the morning. I'm like, well, all right, well, have fun. I guess I'm stuck here. But at that point, he thought I was going to get a hotel. So anyway, they booked me on at 7 p.m. But I woke up at 6 a.m. in the morning. I pulled up my app, and there was one seat available at 8:30 a.m. So I hopped on that real quick. And fortunately, it did confirm me. So ultimately, it kind of –
seat?
What's that? Yeah, no, it was a middle seat, but whatever. Hey, I'll take whatever. Actually, it was. I'll tell you that. It wasn't. I thought it was gonna be a middle seat. It was a window, and I don't normally like.
Bad.
Nah, it wasn't bad.
Tired.
It was window on it was window on an exit row. So I literally just like.
That's good.
Yeah, I passed out. I don't remember much about that flight. I was so tired. So it worked out kind of good that I was there. But it was really funny.
That was a direct flight home.
Direct flight home.
Oh, that's nice.
So it was best. So but it was just like, man, airport floor sleep and then airplane sleep. Like I was wrecked for a couple days. And let's be honest, man, when we started this adventure in the late 20s, like sleeping on an airport floor or whatever, you just hop up in the morning, you're like, whatever, I'm good to go. Like, bro, these old bones now, man, they were sore for a little bit. But so this is funny. So I wake up the next morning. Rob finds out I slept on the floor. He's like, bro. He's like, of course I got your hotel room. Like, go. And I'm like, no, I don't have to explain to him. I was like, no, it was a conscious decision. I was like, I was just there. I was tired. I was like, yeah, I don't even want to mess with it. He was like, Then his wife calls me, and his wife is like, John, don't ever do that again. Like, we will come get you. Like, no matter what's going on, we'll come get you. And I was like, no. I was like, Rob tried to take care of me. Like, don't worry. Like, don't worry. I just made a conscious decision. Then Jay Cowan, our producer, he's like, bro, you know my house is like 10 minutes from the Philadelphia airport. I was like, is it?
I did not know that.
I was like, that one I was not aware of, sir. I was like, your house 10 minutes from the airport, I probably would have taken that. Like, that would have been. He's like, dude, if that ever happens to you again, he's like, just hit me up. He's like, I got an extra bedroom. You can crash out anytime you want.
Yeah.
So, but I will say it did kind of work out good because I probably wouldn't have woken up at 6 a.m. and checking the app if I wasn't like laying on the floor and uncomfortable.
The day there.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
That was the adventure. I hadn't had a good travel adventure in a while. That was a good travel adventure.
I mean, the universe was just like, let's see if he can still do it. Let's see if he remembers this.
That's it.
That's
kind of what I felt. Like, I kind of felt like it was like, you know what, man? Just
I still got this.
Just remember, yeah, you do this. You know what I mean?
I know my GM life now, but I still got it in me.
I still got it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make those sacrifices, So, yeah, it worked out. It was fun. But we had a great weekend, man. We had a really, really great weekend. And obviously a lot of
gets bad because once the bars finally close and then you're just stuck to your own devices.
Dude, if the lounge was open all night, like you could delay me for 48 hours, bro. Like, I wouldn't care, man. Just like,
especially if it's one that has a shower or something. You're just like, what? I don't need anything.
Like Miami, New York, where they got the showers in them, man. Like, yeah, take a shower and just keep the cocktails coming, and then go. We're good to go.
That's like a staycation in the airport. You're like, I'm good. There's an earlier flight. No, I'm good. I'm waiting for the dinner meal, and then
the chef already told me what you guys have coming out in the next round of meals, so I'm gonna stay here for the time. Don't put me on that earlier flight.
I just let him crack open a new bottle of wine. We're good. We're good. Honey, I'm stuck at the airport. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
I'll get there eventually.
It worked out okay. It worked out. My wife got to enjoy her Backstreet Boys at the Sphere.
Yeah, I saw some clips of the Backstreets there. Man, like, it is so neat. And now they're saying Metallica's coming.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying Metallica's supposed to be coming, and I think doing like a residency. It's so cool how the different bands are using that screen, and it's so. I mean, you're paying good money to go, but it's still kind of laughable that you're going to watch a band, but you stare most of the time at a screen, not even at the band, because it's so incredible. Some of the stuff that they used with the effects is just fantastic. So I'm interested to see what Metallica would do up there and just everything else. So yeah, I mean, like, these shows that these artists are putting on over there are pretty incredible.
I'll just say it to anybody that's listening right here that if you see a band that you like that is playing at the Sphere, the tickets aren't going to be cheap.
Yeah.
They're just not. It's just this. Yeah. I mean, you've heard Dana White talk about it. Just the sheer costs that are involved with everything. Yep. That place was $2 billion to build. So I mean, it's not going to be a cheap ticket. But if it's a band you like, go do it.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger on it. If you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure, pull the trigger on it.
Yep.
Go do it, because it's a once in a life. There's no other venue like that.
There's no other venue.
No other show you ever see will ever be like that. So go pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, it's incredible. Even bands that you don't even, like when I saw U2 there, we're a fan of U2.
Right.
I mean, like, we respect what they put into it. But I did not realize how much I would enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm not a huge U2 fan, but it's like the screen changes the whole game, man. It's just unreal. So yeah, I mean, and again, we've talked about how they've won awards there. I mean, it's just such a fantastic little place. So yeah, so good I'm glad that you got to see the Backstreet Boys. I was a little, not that I would go see it, but every clips that I've seen kind of reminds you of some of the songs you hear them and stuff. But then just looking at the screen is just like, wow. Even if they sounded half as decent as they did in their prime, it'd be worth it with the effects and the graphics and everything else.
Let me give you some thoughts here.
For
a single man, maybe on the prowl,
go to the Backstreet.
You gotta. The odds are in your favor at that point, right?
In terms of just sheer female, but they're looking up at people that they were like, oh, I remember them in their prime. They were so cute. Blah blah. What the fuck are you doing, old man? What are you doing here?
They're old too. Like, you can call me Joey if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would
All
just
right,
come
I'm
off
just throwing
as
it out
extra
there.
sad.
Just throwing it out there.
They're like, you're not even watching the show. Stop looking at me. You didn't even wear all white like the album that they were doing or whatever. Or maybe that was the other
They didn't
band.
know they did have to wear all white. My wife had to.
It was like the album or something, right? They're playing through like
I don't know what the
not
reason
a
of
white
it.
album, but it was like
They were playing through the Beatles' White Album.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was the weirdest thing. The Backstreet Boys were playing the Beatles at the Sphere. It was incredible.
because they had like an album or something where they were like an all white outfit.
I don't know what I don't know what the reasoning was behind it, but my
Yeah.
wife did say that they had asked that everybody wear white.
Oh,
so
they
she
asked people because I thought it was just
I don't know.
fan initiated thing.
I should take that back. I don't know if they asked or how it was.
Yeah.
How it was conveyed, but everybody that's going knows
A lot of
you're
people
to wear
yeah.
white.
Yeah.
So everybody wore all white.
Interesting, but yeah, I'm sure I would have missed that memo. I'd be standing out.
Just
One, I'd be polos and camo show. You know the MMA media outfit. You know, going there trying to troll. But yeah, no, I mean, I will take it into consideration. I mean, I won't, but I'll take it in
it
consideration.
just seems like the odds would be on your
the
side.
odds will be in my favor.
All right, listen, we got to talk UFC, of course. You were single-handedly carrying the media day yesterday.
Wow.
I saw a lot of that. There is a really good PFL card, at least the top two fights, especially PFL, and it's Atlantic City as well, which is kind of my home away from home now is Atlantic City and the East Coast, but they've got a good card, so we'll talk about that as well. But I want to bring up something real quick. I watched, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It just came out. It's been teased for a little bit. WWE Unreal. It's a documentary, I guess you'd call it, on Netflix, basically behind the scenes of WWE. And I wanted to check it out. I know that like Punk had been doing a lot of the media for it, and so I was like, let me watch it. And to be honest, it's weird. As much as I really don't watch a lot of wrestling, like I've watched all the Dark Side of the Ring wrestling stuff, and so I watched this and. It's summertime. There's not a lot on, so I was I'll check it out. And I ended up watching the whole thing. I think it's like 5 episodes. I watched all 5 episodes, enjoyed it. First of all, there's some really funny parts in it with Punk that I hope people check it out because I feel like we get to see behind the scenes who Punk is as a person, and a lot of people don't. Which I guess that's the whole thing about.
So he's actually subject material. He's not just like a narrator.
No. It's basically just like if anything.
So is it recent stuff?
Yeah. So it's building up to I guess it would be this year, right? Yeah, it's earlier this year. It's basically like from the end of last year to
it's very recent.
Yeah. It's from the end of last year to WrestleMania this year in Vegas. So yeah, very very recent. Triple H is more the narrator of it or whatever, which, by the way, I found out not that I say his name a lot, but he actually says his own name in there. If you look at the way it's spelled, I always thought it was Paul Levesque, but it's Paul Levesque. The S is silent. So there you go. If you've ever seen it, the S is silent. I've never said that properly. So he's kind of the overall.
I wonder if that somebody changed after somebody finally at one point was like, "Bro, you guys, your whole family's been saying your name wrong for
the whole
generations.
For generations, like we always say it this way."
They went back to the motherland. They're like, "No.
Levesque.
And then they hit him with a baguette or something.
Right. No, but he's kind of narrator, so it's good. It's actually really good. I know there's probably some people that are like hardcore purists because they really, they talk about. They show everything basically. They show everybody, like even the wrestlers when they introduce them, they'll be like, "Well, my ring name is this, but my government name is this, and I go by." So
yeah.
they do all that, and they talk about different aspects of the industry, and about turning heel, and what does gorilla position mean, and where is this, and they talk about how everything is made basically. And so I can see a lot of purists going, "It's supposed to be a secret. We don't show that side of it." But come on, and everybody knows. And I'll be honest with you, like there was one episode, and now I'm trying to remember the girl's name. I had never heard of this wrestler before. But you get to know, it's like you kind of want to watch him more, even if you don't know anything about him. So if you're not a wrestling fan and you watch this, you might be like, "Oh, now I kind of want to watch him wrestle," because you feel like you know stuff about him. But anyway, beyond all that, there were 2 quotes in it that stood out to me so much that related, I thought, to the mixed martial arts business. And the first one was a quote Triple H said. And he was talking about Cody Rhodes and how they use him. Cody Rhodes is like one of their big stars right now, right? But I love this quote because I feel like right now the UFC and the mixed martial arts media and everybody's going, how do they build stars? Can they build stars? What do they do? This quote I thought was great. The bigger the star, the more you want to provide some scarcity of their star power to keep them as big as they are. So it's special when Cody Rhodes is there, and fans see and feel that, and they're anticipating your return even more. And that that is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately when I talk about like building stars. And I almost feel like in this day and age of like everybody having a YouTube channel, everybody having constant social media, everybody's trying to make money on their social media, so they're posting frequently and that sort of thing, and just everything is so omnipresent that it's almost hard, as weird as that may sound, as counterintuitive as that may sound, it's almost harder to build a star because you're just there every day. You know, I was thinking back to like Fedor Emelianenko. You know, what made Fedor so special? Dude doesn't talk. You know, yeah, that's part of it. Is it his fighting? Still doesn't. Yeah. Is it his fight? And when people are around Fedor, won't they tell you he still has like an aura? Like when people in this industry will tell you that when Fedor's in the room, you're like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Why? Because he doesn't talk. He's out there. Think about the Diaz brothers, you know what I mean? Like the Diaz brothers kind of reclusive at times or whatever, you know, not just constantly out there. They just kind of come in and, you know, dive bomb a little bit with a little hit, and then they're out over here and you don't hear from them in a few weeks. So I don't know. I don't know if that registers to you, but it stood to me because it's something that I've really been thinking about a lot lately in terms of the UFC building stars and how you build stars, and I just wonder if it's almost more difficult now that everybody is out there all the time. What's that old like showbiz saying? Like always leave them wanting more. Like Conor McGregor right now. God bless Conor McGregor. Like, do you feel like you don't get enough Conor McGregor in your life? Like, if he shows up in something, are you like, finally, we're hearing from Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
I'm waiting for that break so I can get back to the long game.
Right?
Yeah. Like,
you know,
give me like a 5-year break.
It's almost a joke now, like the media when they'll use headlines like so-and-so breaks silence on this. It's like, it's Monday, bro. The fight was 36 hours ago.
Yeah.
That was silence? Because he didn't post on Sunday? That's silence? So I don't know. Does that resonate with you at all?
I think it does, but it's a fine balance because, you know, when do you know that you've reached that star status, that you actually have that potential that people want to watch you? I think that's the thing. A lot of people are always you're trying to post, you're trying to get that notoriety, you're trying to get a name, but when do you know that you reach that point where you're like, okay, now I need to have them wait for me a little bit?
It's a challenge.
You know,
it's tricky, right?
You know, it's tricky because you want to keep building, because then you're constantly seeing engagement. It's almost like, say, you're playing like the stock market or something. You're like, is now the time that I sell and that I pull back and I get out of the game? Do I stop paying attention? But I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing a little bit more because I think my value could go up a little bit higher. I think I can reach somebody else. So let me just put another couple posts. Let me get one more fight. Let me see if I can reach a new market. Then maybe I'll get there. And then you start getting, you're like, okay, I'm getting some extra stuff. And then now do you like say, okay, let me just pull back and go? Or do you want to like, well, most of the fighters want to keep working. They want to keep making money. But it's funny because, you know, when do you know, without maybe having an outside people maybe that's been sculpting your career from the beginning to the very end, and they can see and measure the growth and actually have the analytics to say, like, here's where you started, here's where we put a post, you never got anything. Now we're at the post, we're reaching the market, we're reaching these countries over here where actually people are talking about your shit. Maybe now we sit back for a little bit.
Right.
But then if you ever tell an artist or somebody to say, just chill, their mind, and a lot of times doesn't work that way. They want to stay active, they want to stay out there. But if you try to tell them, like, well, trust me, like, you'll get a big bang if you hold out for a little bit, and then we'll bring you back, you know.
Right.
But then you're telling them, well, okay, well, then that means I'm not working, I'm not getting a check, I'm not getting whatever.
It's hard, right?
And then you want me to wait for maybe a bigger payday, but you never can guarantee. It's almost like you want to keep working.
Completely silly example, right? But it's a Vegas example. Like Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Would sign autographs like every day, right? He'd sit in that shop in Mandalay Bay, I think is where it was, and he would just sit there and sign. And so there was never like a line or a demand, right? Because it was just like, he's there every day. You know what I mean? It's silly. And again, I know this came from a pro wrestling show, and we're talking about MMA, and now I'm talking about baseball and this and that. But it just struck to me as like there's something, and you're right. I don't know what the science of the art is. You know, maybe that's just one of those, like, you got to be an artist and feel it. But I do think there's something to that of, like, and again, like I said, you want to post on social, especially now that social media is monetized. You know what I mean? If you're like, oh, dude, if I'm Twitch streaming and I'm posting my thing here, you know, I'm making money. I want to cash in while my star is hot. So it's such a delicate little crazy balance, you know?
Because even when you think about, like, music acts, you know, like, if you think that a music act and their performance would say if that's their fight, you know, they may be going tour a partial time of the year. Then the other time they're in the studio, they're not really doing stuff. You do enough social posting, you know, to remind people of some things. But, yeah, do you post every time that you go in there and you're working on a song? You're like, here's today's rehearsal, working on some new stuff. not quite there tomorrow. Here's today's rehearsal. Then you're not getting the payoff.
Yep.
At that point, you have to kind of pull back. We're in the studio. You say, we're going to the studio. We're doing some work. We can't wait to hit you guys with this new stuff in like 3 months.
Right.
And then you're building. Then there's the anticipation of, oh, man, I can't wait till they drop me that little bit of info. Doesn't mean you can't go in there and check in and just say, hey, guys, having a great day. We're getting to work. You know, you tease what you're working on.
Yep.
But it's just,
provide some scarcity of their star power.
Yeah.
I like that. Provide some scarcity of their star power so it's special when they're there and you're anticipating it even more. Like I was like, man, there's something to that. Like, and obviously, you know, again, the WWE can script everything and they can guide everything exactly the way they want to do it.
But are they employees or are they
contractors? They're all 1099.
Well, that's what they say. Same with these guys, you know. So it's like,
I believe they used to be. I don't know if that's the case anymore.
Because at least when it comes to a fight, I get it where, you know, you want to stay active and you want to build your things. Most of these fighters, as independent contractors, they have no other income besides their side hustles. And so the social media and some of this other stuff, that is the side hustle. And it's like, well, how hard are you going to work? Most of the guys were like, I'll do a post every day. I'm going to show you everything just because I have to build, because that's, in my mind, working towards getting money and doing whatever. You know, so I guess in that sense, why would they stop? Because to them, they're looking for something. But as for fights, when they're actually doing it, I could see where then they're like, okay, I'm not going to fight every other month because, one, it might hurt myself, and then maybe people whatever. But for them, it's kind of weird because, you know, it's not like it's on them to advertise the fight and say, I know I just fought last month. Maybe nobody's going to buy this fight ticket to see me, and if I fight in 2 months. But I think most fighters don't think of themselves as, you know, the promotional wing of who's going to actually buy it. They're just trying to earn money and provide for their family.
I don't think the fight, like, if you're fighting 4 or 5 times a year, which is high.
Yeah, which is very, very high.
Very high. But even if you're doing that, like, I don't think that depletes your star power. Like, I think it's just all the stuff in between. Like, you're trying to stay as connected as you can. Yeah. I think maybe it's better to not stay 100% connected so that people are like, oh, damn, he did post something today. Or, oh, my God, he said something today. You know what I mean? Like, just pick your little shots and then back into the, everybody's trying to engage as much as possible. And I don't know. I thought that was good. The other one that stood out to me, the other quote that I wanted to share that I liked as well, and I know that this isn't entirely possible, and this has to do with culture in this, but it was Michael Hayes, who was part of the Fabulous Freebirds from old school. I didn't know he's a big exec, which I'm not real familiar with the industry. I'm sure somebody that's hardcore with the industry would be like, of course he's a big exec, you dumbass. He's been there for 20 years, but I don't know. I don't see this stuff. But he's actually really good in the thing as well, like talking about performances and how people should carry themselves and that sort of thing. But I loved it. He was talking about. He said, in this industry, winning is important, but it's not the only thing. Creating interest for the fans, that's what it's fucking all about. And I think that does matter to mixed martial arts as well. I always think about, I'll mention it again, like the Diaz brothers. I think Michael Bisping at the end of his career. I think, Conor McGregor, certainly at this point, if he was fighting, you reach a point where it's like, I don't really care if you win or lose. Like, I just want to see you fight. We used to talk about that for years, right? Is this trilogy going to happen between Conor and Nate? And now it seems like further and further apart. But we used to talk about it years ago, and that, like, the great thing about that is with those two guys in particular, it wouldn't matter when you put that together. It's going to sell big. It wouldn't matter if they're on a win streak, on a losing streak, that sort of thing. So now, again, you still do have to win. Like, you can't be 0-8 in the UFC, but be like, oh, but he fights like crazy. Like, you still got to get some wins, or they're just going to let you go. No matter how exciting you are, no matter how fan-friendly your style is, you still got to get some wins. But again, I do think that does matter. I always say it's the biggest thing, especially now when there's so many people on the roster. It's just like apathy is your biggest enemy. You know what I mean? Whether you win or lose every single fight doesn't necessarily matter. You just want people to care, to want to tune in, whether it's because they love you or they hate you. You just got to want them to tune in. So, again, WWE not the same as mixed martial arts by any stretch, but I did like that, remember, guys, it's not necessarily just about the losses. It's about making sure the interest is there from the fans and that they want to see you compete and that they have a reason to care, to tune in. And I think that's big. So anyway, just want to throw that out there. I thought those two pieces were interesting, and I would say, I guess I'd give a recommendation if you're looking for something to watch. There's again, the summertime. Maybe there's not as much sports. You're in between fights, whatever the case may be. I thought it was actually a pretty good little watch and pretty entertaining. Like I said, I think it's like 5 episodes. They're like 40 minutes each or something like that. So it's not the longest watch either. And I found it pretty good. So
that's cool.
Highly recommend you check it out.
I have to check it out.
You're always looking for something to watch, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always
the Korean rom-coms.
There's always new Korean rom-coms and, my anime and stuff. I love that Korean, or is it Japanese anime?
Oh, my gosh. Well, we'll talk about the awkwardness of the media day in a minute if we want. 2 more shout-outs I want to give real quick. Got to see Alex Davis. Hadn't seen him in a while. Ran into Alex Davis at jiu-jitsu for my kid yesterday. Not talking out of school here because obviously her dad already posted about it, but he was talking about the whole Amanda Hebus situation. Obviously he loves Amanda, like just always is so.
Like the face?
Yeah. So he was actually telling me more about that, like just how scary it was. That I guess like the whole thing is that like and again, I'm not talking out of school here. Normally I wouldn't share a private conversation about somebody's medical situation because it was a private discussion, but I saw her dad talked about it and she's talking about, but he was like, it was very scary, but they found out that that they had this titanium plate in her head that had come after her last fight, or I guess her last fight, that had been in there, and I guess it was shifting around. And so I don't know if that means it wasn't installed properly, it just got dislodged. I'm not sure what the case is, but I guess it was like pinching some nerves and squeezing some things, and it was causing severe pain for her, as well as to like faint and that sort of thing. So yeah, he said it was. So they're kind of saying maybe their thought is basically very scary, but maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise, that if there was something wrong with this, like this showed it. And you start talking about brains and nerves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing where, if that's the sort of thing where you can only install it in a certain manner that they don't expect you to be taking blows, you really got to start thinking about,
what'd you say you do for a living again?
Yeah.
Oh, did I not tell you I'm a fighter?
Oh.
Oh,
yeah. By the way, you can't fight anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the conversation they really need to have, unfortunately. I mean, if that's the kind of thing, I mean, you figure your face is always moving and whatever. You're like, maybe they can't just lock you down with bolts like you can your spine, when you get spinal, thing. But who knows? I mean, I didn't realize she had a titanium plate in there.
I didn't either. I did not know that was done
what
after the last
fight would have did
that. She said it was. No, now you're gonna make me pull it up.
But that's crazy. So it got jarred loose, and then she was feeling that after this fight?
I think she was feeling it
even before.
I think So I think they said I think it had been there for a few years. I think they said it was after the Macy Barber fight, maybe, which was several years ago. So it wasn't just after her last fight against Mackenzie Dern, I don't think. So but I guess it had been bothering her in the lead up to this. They didn't know what it was. She was having like these like headaches and like fainted, I think, once or twice. Wow. And it comes out, here's what's causing it right here. And so,
holy cow,
scary, but maybe a blessing in disguise. So it's good to see Alex, and it was good. And it was good.
It's good for them to be able to point at something instead of just think that something else is deeper is going on with your body,
right? And not know. So at least they got it. So Amanda and her dad are both about as nice of human beings as you get, and I feel like we say that a lot.
She's got that from somewhere.
Yeah. So
imagine.
It's right. So you already think about Amanda and her bubbly personality, and you're like, well, how did she get that? And then you meet her dad, and her dad is like the nicest human being on earth. You know what I mean? So, I'm glad to hear that for their family, that they're getting this sorted out, and obviously Alex is a longtime friend. So I want to give a shout to him and the Hebus family, and then also I want to give a shout to I don't know if you got to see that. My wife posted this on social media. My son went and rolled with Roxanne Modafferi. Yeah,
I did see that.
Roxanne was saying that like she's, she had posted that like she's, one thing that's tough about motherhood right now is that it's hard for her to be able to train and have somebody like what do you do with the baby while they're training, because she has a young kid right now. She's like, so I'm finding it challenging to balance like. What do I do? I'm supposed to be watching this baby, and then I want to train a little bit as well. So my wife was like, hey, I'll roll by and like I'll watch your kid while you and Eli roll together. And she was like, all right, let's go do that. And, she had coached Eli when he was little tiny, and now he's her size. And so, so they actually got to roll together yesterday while my wife watched the baby. And cool. everybody had a good time. My kid said he really enjoyed it, you know what I mean? Because obviously it's not the same partners that he's going with every single day. And it's an old coach, you know what I mean, that's able to like – they were able to have some fun roles, but then obviously she's a black belt, so she's able to coach them through different situations or whatever.
That's cool.
And then meanwhile, my wife just loves babies and kids. Like if you give my wife a chance to babysit anybody, like if you need a babysitter, just call my wife.
I was gonna say if my mom lived in town, my mom would volunteer. I can't take her anywhere. If there's like a baby at a restaurant or whatever, she has to stop. I'm like, Mom, we're trying to go out. We're trying to pay the bill and leave. She's like, baby.
Yeah, but
I'm like, fuck.
Oh man, funny.
It's funny.
Well, good times. All right, like I said, PFL is this week. I want to give that shout out right away. Atlantic City on Friday night. Man, the featured bouts of this are really, really good. So even if you're not like a frequent PFL watcher, you're not checking it out all the time, I would definitely say at the very minimum, tune in to the main and co-main event on ESPN Friday night. Thad Gene and Logan Storley and Movit Khabilayev and Jesus Pinedo. Phenomenal matchups there in those two tournament finals. So you'll have a couple big winners there at 170 pounds and 145 pounds. Real clash of styles with Thad Gene and Logan Storley. Logan's either going to suffocate you with his wrestling or Thad is going to make it exciting. And Thad's a very, very exciting fighter, man. He's had a good run through the PFL tournament. We actually saw him very early on. I think his second professional fight was under the CFFC banner, and I was kind of bummed that we didn't keep him because I was like, man, that kid looks special. And then now here he is. He's 10-0, and he's fighting the PFL finals. So that's good to see. And then Movit Khabilayev and Jesus Pinedo.
Yep.
Is just going to be a banger.
A banger.
That's going to be absolute fireworks. So looking forward to that one. So that was on Friday night. And then Saturday, of course, is the UFC at the Apex. You and I will both be there. A new look in the main event. Amir Albazi was forced to withdraw from it, and now you get Tatsuro Taira and Hyung Sung Park as well. You were, as I said, carrying the festivities over at the media day. Save for the one awkward moment that you were alluding to.
Yeah, I won't. I don't know. I wonder if I should use the chance to help explain the situation, or do I just let it simmer?
I don't really want to throw anybody under the bus.
I know,
but it's also a really funny situation because as I was telling you at the time, I don't know what it is. So basically, it was Hyung Sung Park was there, and he got asked questions that were supposed to be for Tatsuro Taira.
Yes.
And so it was like, oh, that's not Tatsuro Taira. That's Hyung Sung Park. Now, we've seen this happen before. I mean, the famous one is the Case Kiefer.
Oh yeah.
With the Robbie.
You think that's Robbie Lawler?
Do you think Albert Tumanov is no? That's not Robbie. Oh, so that's the famous one that still gets brought up, and I know I'm sure Case hates it or whatever, but. I was telling you as it happened because I was working at home, but I was watching the media day in the background so I can keep up with everything. And I was messaging you that like, for some reason, like if it was just some random white dude, I don't know why, it just seems different. Like, did you think that was Chris Duncan? No, that's Mateusz Rebecki. Like, I don't know, it just seems less awkward.
Yeah.
Like, you got the wrong white dude, but it's like, oh, you got the Asian. And it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it just seems like more awkward that you got the wrong Asian dude mixed up. Like, oh, that's so insensitive.
Zaleski dos Santos.
Yeah,
How did you not know that?
So that was a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to say his name or whatever, but so
Hyun Sung
goes up there, but they had been just bringing these fighters in one after another, and there was just no real pacing. I'm trying to catch come from behind. I was copying some footage, trying to turn my pages to get to my notes that I had written down, my questions for him, trying to focus. And this reporter felt bad that, Park had been sitting up there for a second. And so immediately starts launching into his questions, but didn't realize that he was reading. This is going off his explanation to me. That was going off of his notes for Taira.
Right.
So maybe he just didn't double check, or maybe just as he was going in, he was trying to do a square, felt bad for the fighter sitting up there, but I don't think he recognized or realized that he was asking the wrong person these questions, and then as the translator tried to sort of explain to him, and then, there was weird sort of discussions, and then looks towards me and he's just like, Kenny, go. Kenny, and I was just like, okay, and then I just launched into questions, because I knew it was a weird situation. Because when I was starting to hear him, I was like,
that doesn't make sense.
I don't think he realizes that he's talking to a Korean man or something, and he's asking these Japanese things, and so. But it is what it is. I mean, like, weird shit has happened up there.
I felt bad. I felt bad watching at home. I felt really bad, man.
But it's the kind of thing that people will forget in no time. And he's going to kick himself over it, for a while. He'll feel worse about it than anybody else will after a while, So it's like one of those things. But regardless, it felt bad because he was trying to ultimately make the fighter feel better for sitting up there in the silence while I was like trying to get myself sorted. Which normally isn't that big of a deal when
you guys
there's
were
more
getting
people
slammed.
there.
You were
It
getting
was just so
slammed.
slammed. They
were bringing in BJJ guys
the
as well.
BJJ guys, which is already adding 4 extra, competitors. And then even then, I don't know a lot of the guys, so I had to tell them.
But
I was
you
like,
did
"Can
your
you
research, bro. I saw you were like, I looked at your topology record, and it looked like you hadn't been competitive. But then I checked out BJJ
so
Heroes.
Did you see? I gave your thing. I should have been like, JMO gave me this site, but I was just so I looked on and I found a different other little site. But
yeah, you're like, but I looked over it was good. You were like, because you could see he was kind of smiling a little bit. You're like, if you look on topology, it looks like you're not busy. And he was like, yeah. But I looked at BJJHeroes.com and you're super busy. And he's like, yeah, that's me, bro. Like,
and he actually, I liked his personality, so some of the guys, and you even talked about as well, at the BJJ, like what Techi and Gedalia have said, like what they're trying to do, finding these exciting people. The format does sound exciting with the rounds, it's not a 10-minute just hold the ground and wait for overtime type thing. It's like we're going to give you 3 5-minute rounds, right? And then you're going to be trying to go for a submission. You get a chance to get a break. You get a chance to get your wind.
Yep.
And then you go back in there and you go for the submission.
Yep.
And you're in the bowl where there is no escape.
Where there's no getting out.
There is no
the
rolling.
bowl is great, man.
It is pretty interesting. And the fighters, the grapplers, whoever, seem very excited about the thing as well. So even that, I wasn't asking crazy questions then, but it's still adding other people. So I was asking the UFC, I was like, when you bring these people in, can you announce who they are? Like, I recognize Mason Fowler. As for Tackett, when he walked in with the belt, I would have figured out, okay, that's Tackett.
He's got a belt, that's Tackett.
But if David Garbo,
there you go.
One of those comes in, I would be like, who's this guy?
No, I agree.
And then, but to be fair, I know who Renato Canuto is. So I would have,
process of elimination.
So by elimination, I would be like, okay, this is the other guy. But still, it just kind of threw it. It just made a crazy day of just adding all these ones in there. And,
look, I think that's a challenge that maybe the UFC isn't thinking about. Because, look, man, now you've got to know all the UFC fighters. You got to know all the UFC BJJ guys. If they want to bring some power slap people, you got to know who those people are. Boxing is coming.
I have zero knowledge of power slap.
Zero.
I would say. I don't go to the events here. I maybe watch them, if that.
If it's in the background.
If it's in the background.
And now they're going to start promoting boxing as well. And it does make sense that, hey, if you already have gathered media here, why, you've already got cameras, you've already got recording equipment, you've already got people to ask questions. Why don't we just run them through? But I do think that they might not necessarily realize that, hey, just because we're experts in this particular field right here doesn't mean that. Experts. I mean, look, dude, you're a mixed martial arts expert. There's no doubt about it, man. Like as much as your life is centered around this, I guarantee you, I guarantee you. You're in the top 1% of knowledge of anybody on earth in this sport. I guarantee.
As long as it doesn't come to stats.
Yeah, no,
I do not know stats.
But that's different. I'm not saying
like a weird
photographic memory where you can no. I'm just talking about understanding of the sport itself, understanding of the mindset, understanding of all those things. You have that, but that doesn't necessarily translate to everybody else, and it doesn't mean that you're going to know the athletes. You know what I mean? So it's like I just think that's something they got to consider. Is hey, and look, I think it's good that each one of those sports has like their own expert media that's like, this is what I do. I live this. I'm sure tonight, because tonight's the UFC BJJ 2. Right.
I'm sure there's probably going to be some random media that show up that I didn't see there yesterday.
Right.
That specifically maybe can't afford to come spend multiple days, but will they come for fight night? Quite possibly.
Yep.
And they do know the sport. They do, and a lot of people are like, sometimes they assume like, oh, hey, can we ask for a first question? Can we whatever? I'm like, bro, this is your shit. 100%. Go for it.
Yeah,
I have
100%.
no problem. Like, I'll ask a question so that the fighter doesn't awkwardly sit up there and not get anything, so that we get something, some sort of sound bite or whatever. But I'm always more than happy. And I recognize and realize and would rather give the person that actually knows and really has research and wants to get something. I'm like, no, please go right ahead, because I don't know it all. I'll be the first to say it. And I say it all the damn time. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a whatever. I might play one on TV.
You're not helping me get the Journalist of the Year award, bro.
That's already done. That's already done.
I'm trying to get you in here.
That's already done. It's funny because, a lot of times because the network will call me a video journalist and they'll do whatever, I'm just like, my title's actually video producer. It'd be nice if you called me senior video producer, but it was a really rough day. But honestly, there are times that after the fact, it's always harder when you're prepping for it, and then when you're in the middle of it, and then when you see that light at the end of the tunnel, you're like, okay, only a couple more.
Yeah.
Like the last interview, Carol Hosa could have been a heck of a lot shorter, but then once you get to the last one, and then you start actually interacting and talking, and part of the fun is like the follow-ups.
Yep.
I'm not just looking straight down a piece of paper, and I know you don't as well. When you get to the point where you're like, okay, now I can move on. We've reached our conversation on this point. Let's move to another. Then you look and you move forward. But if you're actually engaging and enjoying whatever, sometimes the follow-ups can lead you on to another tangent, and you find out something
100%.
that's so incredibly interesting, much better than what you're like, oh, man, if I would have just stayed on what I had written on paper, I would have never found out this little bit about this, or this person's grandfather
100%.
about this, or this, or this, or whatever.
That's a skill that you only get through repetition. Like
repetition.
Anybody that starts in the beginning, and listen, if you're new to the industry or you're thinking about this as doing this as a career, like those nerves that you feel when you do interviews in the beginning are every single person on the planet has them. You know what I mean? And you realize
it stays. It's always there. Like
100%.
Like I don't go into media days thinking like, I got this. I'm like, shit,
don't mess anything up
don't
today.
Sound like a dumbass.
Don't sound like a dumbass.
You're gonna sound like a dumbass at some point, but let's mitigate it a little bit. just sound like a little bit of a dumbass.
As minimal as possible. But that is a skill that because in the beginning you'll realize when you go back and listen to your recordings of your interviews, you realize I messed up here because I was so worried about getting to the next question that I didn't actually fully appreciate his answer and realized there was something that I should have pivoted right here on.
And even like a lot of times people are like, oh, why do you ask this? You just ask these silly questions or whatever. Like, so even like yesterday, so if I open up with a lot of times like how was fight camp, how was your training, how you feeling, whatever, that's an opening barrage that I'm throwing, one that allows me to actually get them talking, so then I can actually look at the notes and the questions that I want, especially yesterday because it was so fast-paced, trying to look and say, okay, where am I going on this? Okay, let me open up the Tapology just so I can double-check.
And by the way, let's throw in, too, and double-check your focus and double-check your framing.
Your focus and framing, yeah.
Right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's something people don't think about. Like, hey, why do you ask that softball question to start out with? Well, I'm just trying to get them comfortable so they're just like, they don't feel like they were being assaulted right away. When you walk up to somebody in the street, you don't just automatically go, da-da-da-da-da. You're like, hey, what's up, man?
Let's talk about that weight miss that last time we saw you were missed weight by 3 pounds.
That's it. You don't want to start with that. You want to settle them in a little bit. Yeah. But for you have the added complication of, and I'm also, by the way, checking to make sure, are my audio levels registering? Is my focus on point? Is my framing accurate? Did I hit record? Yeah. I mean, it sounds silly, but when you hit record and start talking, you get it. You're like, oh, it's like when you leave your house and you can't remember if you closed the garage door or not or something like that. Yeah. You got to check back and double check. Same thing. I do this every time. Did I actually hit it, or did I double tap it on accident so that I actually have like a quarter-second file here of?
That is the worst.
People don't think about all these things.
And that's why I will share some of the blame when the reporter jumped in and started talking with Park. I was checking my focus and hitting record because I was getting my stuff together, and they felt bad and jumped in. It was all these little things where they might be like, why didn't Kenny just start the thing? Because I wasn't ready at that point, because I was going through my checklist of things, So, but ultimately, when you get through towards the end, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then when it's all done, I was literally beat, but I was like, man, I guess in the sense you think about it, I got to talk to 14 high-level athletes that I normally would never get a chance to. I don't just sit and a lot of videos that happen on like the USA Today Network and some of them are just aggregated. They find a social clip out there. Let's reach out to the person. We think this is really cool. We'll get permission to use it. We're going to grab some text over top, and then we push it out, and everybody loves it. And it's a video of a dog, and you're like, yay, whatever. But this is actual interactions with athletes, come what may, there's the nervousness, there's the awkwardness, there's the chance I might stick my foot in my, my mouth and say something stupid, or you get this incredible thing. And at the end of it, when it's all done, you're like, man, it's pretty cool. It's good, So I felt good after the fact, but I was still like, it was still just like, oh my,
give yourself credit, man. I know you're always like, I'm not a journalist. Like, bro, you might not be a journalist, but you're doing all the work of one.
Play one on TV.
I'm telling you, man. So I'm always glad to say your Neil Magny conversation. Always, I know you love Neil Magny.
And I've said it time and time again. I'm so respectful. One, his career, and it's funny because been around almost the whole time. His first fight was like 2012, 2013. I came to the UFC at 2011, so I literally was there his whole career watching this dude. So it's really sort of interesting. So I've always sort of had a connection, but it's funny because when they brought the BJJ guys in, it was supposed to be Neil Magny first. I saw they were just telling us, like, Neil's delayed, we're going to do the whatever. And I look over into the lobby, and Neil's walking in, and they're getting ready to take him upstairs, do his ING. I'm like, well, no, he's right there. And they're like, oh, he's got to do his whatever. And since we were sort of talking, I was pointing, he rounded the corner to go up those stairs and was looking inside and recognized me, and he gave me the, hey, what's up?
Nice.
So I did like, hey. So it was like, it was cool. So as soon as he got in, I knew I was going to start, and just, I guess, lead the interview with him. But, I knew I had to ask him. He was coming in for a two-fight loss streak. Only the second time in his career that it's happened. The last time it happened,
in years.
2013, he lost to Sergio Moraes, unless I'm getting these guys backwards. And then 2014, the fight right after that was Seth Pazinski.
Wow. Old school names right there, bro.
Right? And I told him, I was like, I don't even know if you even remember. Like, I can barely remember. I was like, I don't even know if you even remember who you lost these fights to. They were so long ago. But that's how long this cat's been doing it, and how credit to him of just how long this guy's always been in the rankings. If you've been in the rankings since 2014,
that's huge,
dude.
Longevity is massive.
That
in the
is
sport,
ridiculous, man. And he's still currently the welterweight, and he leads the record for most wins in the welterweight record. So
crazy.
Here he is kicking himself because he's dropped down. He's not in the rankings. I'm like, bro, but you go out and get that win. You have a record that still continues. You might not be in the rankings, but your stretch runs and that record just keeps going. That's got to be pretty cool, right? You're in the history books, but it's always good seeing him. And I mean, and that's one of those things where you get to start to interact with these fighters. Will he remember my name? Probably not. No, if we saw whatever, not. But if he sees my face, I know he knows me.
Yep.
But by going and asking and doing some of these things, you get to be able to have these questions that some might be like, man, I'm not gonna ask him about his loss streak. I'm not gonna ask him about his losses and what he's gonna do. I mean, like, blah 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 blah. I'm like, there's tough questions that need to be asked, even if they're tough. It's not like I'm asking about his marital affairs or anything. Like, bro, we're just asking about a record. But like everybody has down unpleasant. There you go. But a lot of times, if you just go and if you work it in there and you can open up with something else and you work your way into it. You don't have to just jump into it, and you can get to it. That's why even when he came up there, I wrote his nickname on my thing. So when he came in, I was just like, Haitian Sensation. I was like, what's up? Funny. And then immediately gets him smiling. Does it make me look like a jackass? Yeah, but to him, he's like, what's up?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, obviously, we started streaming those media days just as to like, well, we're here, we're filming. Yeah. Why not stream them? Why not give everybody all access behind the scenes? But it is kind of funny, the negatives. Like, obviously, you always get the fans that are like, oh, what is this stupid thing is taking forever or whatever. Like, yeah, welcome to our work days. And then also not understanding of like, hey, man, kind of what I'm doing here is trying to establish a little bit of a rapport so that like this, I want to make this athlete feel comfortable, because you'd be shocked. I mean, we talk about it, but you'd be shocked how many of the athletes on the UFC roster are nervous as hell when they sit down in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, you fight in your underwear in a steel cage in front of a sold-out arena for a living, and you're nervous that there's 3 cameras and us asking you questions, but they are. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, most athletes didn't grow up wanting to be media trained or whatever, so it's a little bit like nerve-wracking for them to sit there. So you're trying to make them feel comfortable and trying to make them
I guess when you get nervous, it's like you get nervous, like, bro, I get to punch you and I'll forget that I'm nervous. Here, I can't. You're asking me all these questions, like I can't get away from it,
Oh, man.
But, yeah, I mean, it was, yesterday was long. I think I got there a little after 9 in the morning, and I left around 4:30.
That's a long day,
bro.
Long day, and then
so USA Today bought me dinner yesterday.
Did they?
After that,
hey.
Well, they don't know yet. I haven't expensed it.
But they did.
But if you sit on location for 8 hours almost, bro, I deserve. I
can
dinner.
tell you on the production team, the production, they need a lunch. They get a crew lunch at that point. So I can tell you about that. Listen, outside the feature fights, I will say, obviously, again, this is a smaller fight night card. There's no question about that. But I do think we're gonna have some. I am really excited to see Kevin Vallejos. I guess it's the Argentinian Vallejos. I think he's really, really exciting. There's some fun fights on here. I think like anything, it'll be a nice. No better place I'd rather be than just down the street from my house on Saturday afternoon watching fights. So I'm looking forward to that. Both of us going to UFC BJJ as well tonight, so we will be over there. I want to say one thing real quick. We always piece of advice that I've noticed in my time as general manager for CFFC. If you're a regional fighter on the way up, make sure your management team is listed on your social media. That is big. Sometimes we're trying to get a hold of athletes that we're looking at that we want to get a hold of them, right? And you're like, who manages them? I don't know. Do you know who manages them? I'm not sure. Do you know who manages them? And we're all asking each other. It's like, I'm not sure. And, there's nothing wrong with just messaging the athlete directly and say, hey, we'd be interested in having your services. Who can we talk to, whatever. But it would just save so much time and energy. And as an athlete, you're busy. You may not be checking your social media all the time. You might have your DMs closed because you don't necessarily want random fans reaching out to you and talking to you, whatever. So I would just say, as a piece of advice to everybody on the come up, make sure your management is listed somewhere in your social media just to make it easier, because you might be missing opportunities that you never knew that people were even looking at you for, right? You might be going, man, I can't get a fight. I don't know why. Meanwhile, CFFC and multiple other organizations have, been fans of your work, and they're trying to find a way to get a hold of you, and you got your DMs closed and nothing about your management team, whatever. You might have missed out on some opportunities you didn't even know you were going to have. So that would be a recommendation that I have noticed in my short time in my new role. So anyway,
there you go.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Tips from the GM tips.
Good times. All right, listen, I know we got to get going because we got UFC BJJ to head over to. Glad to be back. Again, apologies to everybody over at patreon.com/the MMA Roadshow. I assure you it was an actual adventure. By the time I got home, it was already past our taping date anyway, and I was a wreck that could barely form coherent sentences together.
100%. Well, should we stream through picks real quick? Give them some main card picks.
Let's go. See what you got. I didn't want to stress you out.
No. We can hop up. We can make it quick. I did as badass as I think Park is. I think I'm going to lead with Tyra. I think his length and his experience. I'm just going to go with him on that
agree.
one. But man,
Park is dangerous.
Struggled with this one.
Yep.
I'm literally. I could go either way, but man.
By the way, Park's English is fantastic, and
oh my goodness,
I love his English, and I love
sneaky with it. He just brings stuff out there, and then anytime I see that, I'm just like, what else you got? I'm never gonna if you put something like that and you tease me with something, I'm gonna ask.
And
you
he came with something else too.
Yes.
That was comical, man. That was incredible. And by the way, I love. And he was saying I'll finish it in the first round, and I love when you guys asked Tyra. And obviously he said it through an interpreter, but he was like, I think he's going to find out in the first round that he has made a mistake. Yeah. I'm like, that is the most respectful way to be like, F you, bro.
Yeah, so
but I agree. That's a tough one. It's a good fight. It's a changed main event, but it's still a really good main event.
Yep. And now in the co-main event, both these guys have history. They both have trained together. I did lean Rumbetsky, but Duncan is a dog, and man, I really like his personality.
He's great.
Oh man, he is something. I remembered that we had chatted with him before, and I think one of his other fights. But man, when he came in there, I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Yep.
And then he starts talking, and you can just see that really great personality.
Freaking tank of a human being.
Oh
too,
man,
dude.
boy. So I think this is going to be a banger. I mean, out of I guess two names that most people probably couldn't think like, well, who's going to be co-maining an event recently?
Yeah, that was not the one you'd expect.
Those are not the ones I would expect.
And I love the history between them too, right? Because like Duncan's like Rubesky was asked if he'd fight him. And he said, "Yeah." And Duncan was like, "What?" Like,
and then it didn't happen. He's like, "Well, you get what you asked for eventually."
Sorry, teammate, you're getting knocked the f out.
So so I did lean Rumbetsky on that one. The next one, man, Esteban Ribovic is a dog, man. I think this guy has a lot of potential to be a big star. I mean, I think already in Argentina, he mentioned his media day in his town where he's from. People know, but he says in some of the bigger cities, people are starting. If he's at a sporting event, people are like, hey, this guy's somebody they kind of recognize or whatever. He says he hasn't made it to the mainstream yet, but I am leaning towards him. I think Brenner, as good as he is, I just think that Ribovic is just a little bit too much for him.
Right.
So I went Esteban on that particular fight.
I can see that.
Yeah, and then Nora, if she can get her weight stuff good, I think she's strong. I think she's powerful. I actually went for her over Hosa, but Carol is a dog. I like her mentality. I mean, she's just personable. I enjoyed chatting with her. I don't know, maybe because Nora, she comes in heavy, but she's so big. She's so strong.
I got some insight on Nora. This is crazy story. I didn't even share this story. There's so much has happened between now and then. On my way out to the East Coast last week, I was sitting down, sitting in whatever. The aisle seat is normal. Middle seat sits down. I'm doing some work, whatever. And like about halfway through the flight, this woman who's sitting in the middle seat next to me, she's like, "So are you from Las Vegas?" And I was like, "Well, 17 years. I've been here for quite a bit. Been here enough. Why? What's up?" She was like, "Well, do you like it?" And I'm like, "Yes." We start talking. She's like, "Well, I just got a place out here, and I'm still kind of trying to get settled in." And I'm like, "What'd you get out here for?" She's like, "Well, I'm in the UFC." And I was like, "What?" And it was Haley Cowan, and I didn't recognize it. I think with women fighters especially, because every time you
I'd
see them,
recognize Haley.
They got. You're funny. Every time you see them, they're like in braids because their hair's all done up and stuff. And obviously, I'm obviously we're just kind of like chatting to the side or whatever. You know what I mean? And I was like, so anyway, we started talking. Her last fight was Nora Cornell, and she was like, I was like, man, because Nora always looked incredibly athletic to me, and Haley's like, not as strong as I thought she was going to be.
Interesting.
She said not as strong.
Well, she came in. She was 138. She came in 2 pounds over the limit. She manhandled Haley though. I mean, but yeah, Haley's gorgeous. But she moved in Vegas now.
So she just had. I don't think she just had a procedure done. And she wanted to come out here and utilize the PI services. So she is not moving out here full time, but she rented an apartment out here.
That makes so much sense.
And she said, you know
Why
what?
not? I mean, because if you try to go to a specialist in your hometown or whatever.
Check this out. We've talked about it over the years, but literal real world reinforcement. This is 100% true. She's like, listen, for the rent that I'm paying, she's like, I'm saving more in all the rehab, diet services, like everything that the PI offers. She's like, it's cheaper for me. She lives in Colorado. No, take that back. She has a place in Colorado. No, her family still lives in Texas. I can't remember. She's back and forth between the three. I think her husband and her live in Colorado, and her family, because she's from Texas, her family still lives in Texas. But anyway, she was saying where she is and all the services that she's getting done as a professional athlete with her recovery, with all those things. Remember, she was a Division I college athlete. Like she's done stuff. She's like, it's cheaper for me to just rent an apartment in Las Vegas and travel back and forth and take advantage of all the services. She's like, even paying that rent for that apartment and paying flights back and forth, she's like, it's just Southwest Airlines, whatever. It's cheaper for me because of the money I save. I'm like, I tell people 100%. That all the time.
And she can get food.
She can
literally eat there. She can get physical therapy.
And I think she's training. I think she's training Extreme Couture as well. Cool. So anyway, but it was kind of cool to see that. So
that's
anyway,
a small world.
So Nora Cornell. Not as strong.
Not as strong. Well, maybe I'll reassess my picks. Even though when I look at the rankings, Hossa is higher up in the rankings. But I went with Nora on that one, so maybe I'll eat some crow on that one. And then of course Magny and Zaleski.
You had to go Magny all day.
It wasn't even But as much as I am picking with my heart, I think with my head as well. I think Magny, he's bigger. He's got like a 7 to 8 inch reach difference. But knowing him, he's not going to sit out there and try to strike all day. She's going to try to get him against the cage and do what he does and just sort of manhandle him and get, and I'm hoping he has a decent day of it. Nothing against, Dos Santos, who's been in the UFC almost nearly as long, over 10 years.
Forever too.
So both these guys, it's the battle of vets, man. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see. So, but yeah, it was hard for me to not pick Magny. I don't even think I even thought of it. No. I was like, oh yeah, no, Magny. Let me circle that one. And then the last one, Silva and Vallejos. That's a tough one, but I think I went Silva, or did I go? That I'm not sure. Maybe I did go Vallejos.
I'll check on that one.
Yeah.
Nah. Silva might be able to get out. I just think Vallejos, man. This dude looks real to me, man. I mean, I don't want to take away from Danny Silva either. I mean, he's had some, some close performances early on. Vallejos just looks nasty to me.
He does, but now, who did I pick? Because I think that was the one I was maybe I was on the fence about that one. Oh, I did pick Silva. Why did I do that?
Maybe wait till weigh-ins. See what you think after weigh-ins.
And then, we could always do the last-minute pick, change my mind.
Or maybe Silva's got something up his sleeve.
Well, I know he's taller. He's got a bigger reach than him, but interesting.
I could be just homering, too. Every time I've seen this Vallejos compete, man, I'm just like, that dude is a savage.
Yeah. And I really don't want to... I'm only one behind right now.
Nice. Who's leading right now?
Bon.
One behind Bon?
He just jumped up. Me and Farah's been crushing it. She's been on top of the leaderboard for a while, but now she's tied for second.
A little slip?
No, I think people just caught up.
Yep.
It just with picking so many events, it's just bound to happen or whatever. So I'm just glad I'm still in the running.
I like it.
But
3-time.
yeah,
3-time. Let's get that 3-time.
I might have to go back and change that, and we'll see. We'll see.
I feel bad.
You're gonna make me.
That's gonna end up being Silva winning. You jackass!
You jinxed
You screwed the whole season, man. You messed up everything.
I mean, he did. I mean, he had some good wins. Lucas Almeida, Josh Kulabau. Is it Angel Pacheco, I'd imagine?
Yeah.
As opposed to Angel Pacheco. That was a Contender Series. I think, was both guys on the Contender Series? You know, I always give extra bonus points to Contender Series guys. And, yes, they both were on Contender Series. But actually, Vallejos, he lost to Silva. That was a unanimous decision. He lost in the Contender Series. So I guess I got to get – oh, and then he came back and beat Cam Tig, Sungwoo Choi. In terms of who's beaten who in the UFC, Silva's beaten the tougher guys in the UFC.
It's true.
I think that's what I was looking at. I think that's what made me sway. And then, you know, Vallejos is a 68-inch reach. And then Tierney is, I think he was 70.
I love the breakdown that's happening right here.
It's the way my brain worked. Yeah, 70-inch reach, 5'11", 70. So I had, even though reach, I tried asking that with Neil yesterday. I was like, a lot of it is just us media. Is it just the fans? You know, we look at this reach difference. They say it every time in the tail of the tape. They talk about the reach, and it's like, I get it. You know, boxing that really, it really makes sense. You know, when you're striking the whole time. But I asked Neil, I was like, how big of a difference does that really mean? Do we put too much stock in the fact that one guy has a bigger reach over another? Does it really play into effect, And it all just depends on how you use your tools.
100%.
Like we used to always talk about, there's so many big, heavyweights. Who was
like Struve back in the day when Struve was the worst. He was the worst. And I love Seth Struve. Like, I'm not talking trash. I'm sure he would admit it too.
And he's like one of the nicest guys ever. But it's like,
now he's doing like media and stuff.
Bro.
Yeah.
You got like a 12-inch reach difference.
Just hold your hand out. And,
so I guess it makes a difference if you actually use it and employ it. But if you're a ground guy and you're like, I just want to throw a fake punch so I can get my double takedown, like I guess that 7-inch reach doesn't really mean anything.
So true. True. There's some bonus breakdowns for you.
Bonus breakdown. Bonus breakdown.
All right, now we're really up against it. We got to go. Appreciate everybody for being patient with us. And as always, thanks for listening.